Over the summer of 2016, a study was released by computer scientists at Columbia University and the French National Institute, which found 59% of links shared on social media have never actually been clicked on. In other words, most people are sharing articles only after reading the headline. The latest example demonstrating why such a study is so concerning comes from a CNN article published in early February of 2023, which reads, "Pentagon tracking suspected Chinese spy balloon over the United States." If 59% of readers are only seeing the headline without actually reading the story, they're going to miss some important details, such as Pentagon spokesperson General Patrick Ryder saying that the United States government has been tracking the balloon for several days, adding that it, quote, does not present a military or physical threat to people on the ground. If 59% of readers are only seeing the headline without reading the story, they'll miss the part in the story where a Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson says that the balloon entered U.S. airspace accidentally and that it is a civilian airship used for research. If 59% of readers are only seeing the headline without reading the story, they'll also miss the part where a senior defense official told CNN that the balloon, quote, does not create significant value compared to what China can already find in the United States from low Earth orbit satellites. And yet, as Rahm Emanuel once said,
you never want a serious crisis to go to waste. And what I mean by that, it's an opportunity to do things that you think you could not do before.
U.S. Secretary of State Anthony Blinken called off plans to visit Beijing, and a White House spokesperson was briefed on the balloon and said that there was consensus that it was not appropriate to travel to China at this time. On February 4th, the balloon was downed off the eastern U.S. coast. Democrats rejoiced, defending Biden as tough and taking care of the Chinese menace, whereas Republicans continue to criticize him, claiming the president is bought by China and that he allowed it to complete its mission before shooting it down. Once again, the supposed differences between both parties when it comes to foreign policy are brightly illuminated, easily showcasing how perpetually thirsty the two camps are for more war. But let's play devil's advocate and assume that China is lying, and the balloon is a brazen attempt at openly spying on the United States in broad daylight. If true, it still pales in comparison to the numerous provocations levied by the United States against China over the last year alone. For example, in late January of 2023, four-star U.S. General Mike Minihan warned troops that his gut said, "We will fight China in 2025. Meanwhile, U.S. troops are expected to gain access to 4 new facilities in the Philippines, along with a new U.S. base in Guam, which is 4,000 acres and can host 5,000 Marines. How would the United States feel if China was occupying military bases in the small islands around U.S. territory? In mid-January of 2023, it was reported that the United States National Guard was operating a program to train the Taiwanese military. Back in November of 2022, the United States and Japan held a major joint military exercise in southern Japan with 26,000 Japanese troops and 10,000 American troops. Again, how would the United States feel if China was holding drills with Russia right off U.S. waters? And earlier in the year, former U.S. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi took a trip to Taiwan and declared U.S. solidarity with the country crucial due to a struggle between autocracy and democracy in the world. Such language might sound familiar. Robert Kagan, a lifelong war hawk and face behind numerous neoconservative think tanks, argued that the 21st century will be dominated by an apocalyptic struggle between the forces of democracy, led by the United States, and the forces of autocracy, led by China and Russia. But if we look beyond just the last year, there are also numerous examples of the United States tossing provocations into Chinese territory with far more than just balloons. For instance, in December of 2022, CNN reported that a Chinese fighter jet intercepted a U.S. reconnaissance aircraft over the South China Sea. In August of 2020, China accused the United States of sending a U-2 reconnaissance plane into a no-fly zone over a live Chinese military drill. And in July of 2017, 2 Chinese fighter jets intercepted a U.S. surveillance plane over the East China Sea. If we assume that the suspected Chinese spy balloon is, in fact, an actual reconnaissance aircraft, what room does the United States have to criticize China's actions considering their own repeated and inarguably more provocative maneuvers inside and around Chinese territory? And of course, if it ever comes out that the balloon was actually what China said, a benign vessel that accidentally found its way into U.S. territory, don't expect endless streams of coverage about how China was telling the truth and how the balloon was actually nothing to worry about. As history shows, U.S. propaganda spreads farther than the corrections that might follow it.